Hey guys, good afternoon, everybody. Today is Friday, May 2nd. It is 2:04 right now. Our scheduled mentoring session is with Nikki for today. I'm gonna go ahead and just finish setting this room up real quick, and I'll be sending her the invite link shortly. So I'm not going to be answering any questions during the session to the public. I'm just going to be answering questions for Nikki. So get this up here real quick. So let me get this link sent over to Nikki. All right, let me give Nikki some time to join in. All right, just waiting for Nikki to join in on the session. There she goes.
Hey,
Hey, Nikki, how's it going?
good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
This is me.
I know, good to finally meet you for
Isn't
once.
that funny?
I know, it's been how long? Like, what, a year, maybe 2 years now?
Years. Is that it's so funny. I'm so used to like shutting off the volume and the first thing I do is like click myself off. So it's funny. So
Yeah,
how
yeah,
are you
yeah.
good?
I'm doing great. Yeah, how's everything with you?
Good. Finally got good weather, so I'm happy.
Oh, I know. Where are you located?
I'm on Long Island, like the end of Long Island in New York.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
because it must have been cold there like months ago, right?
it sucked. It was like it wasn't even cold. It was like 40 and cloudy, like nothing good.
Oh, that's the worst. Yeah, you're like in between.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you guys actually experience seasons out there. Over here, it's
Yeah.
just warm all year round.
Yeah, no, that's nice. But
Yeah.
I think we have your weather right now, so I'm taking it.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. Take that off against any other weather, like the cold and
Right.
snow and all that for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, so I'm just having the same usual issues, I have a good week and then I just blow it in one day, one trade just takes me down and I just need to, I guess, have some accountability of some sort.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, are you using any type of trade journal, or are you journaling yourself, anything like that?
So I was tra I was so I was using an automated bot for a little bit. And
Okay.
I was definitely journaling then and my own person like manual trades as well. And then I got really frustrated with the bot or the strategy that I just got like pissed and stopped doing everything. So then I saw your Trader Sync and I signed up for that, but I haven't really set it up yet.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I think Trader Sync is going to make like a huge difference. Like for me, I was already pretty consistent and, on point with my trading, but as soon as I started using Trader Sync, I think I've gotten a lot better because I started using Trader Sync at the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
And I feel like it's made a huge impact because typically, like it doesn't matter how long you've been trading for. I've been trading for years and I still feel that itch to take another trade, right? Or if I
right,
lose, I have the FOMO or the need to make that loss back. But now that I have the TraderSync linked to all my accounts, whenever I have that updated, it kind of forces me to look at the bigger picture because I'm looking really at the overall versus, what's happening for the day. Because it's easy to
right,
be successful on the daily basis. Like
right,
some days, on a weekly basis, sometimes it'll be a little difficult, but it's sort of easy. But carrying that over to like a monthly basis, that's like really where you make those big strides. Because like you said, you can be doing well for like a couple days, couple weeks, and you blow it all in like one day.
right. Which
So
has been happening.
yeah, so I'm curious. So when you blow it all in one day, is that because you take multiple trades, or you're just taking, you're over leveraging, or you?
Yeah, both. I mean, I get this like crazy. I know that everybody goes through it, but like this crazy, like, okay, I'll just add another contract and get this next trade, and then it of course isn't going to work out, and then you do it again, and now you're down 800. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot because you're like
Exactly.
you're down
But
one, and
I've been, really good at, keeping consistent, and then of course, then that one day, it just like screws me.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I could relate to that in like a lot of instances. Like I think yesterday was actually it was a pretty good day, but I did take a lot more trades than I normally do. I think I took
Right.
3 trades yesterday. So like it doesn't really matter how long you've been trading, how much how much experience you have and stuff like that. Your emotions will take control a lot of
Right.
time.
Right.
So I think what you need is really like a solid trading plan to follow. And I
Yes.
think because so you won't be trading on the fly. So like
Right.
you'll have some of those days, like for example, yesterday for myself, where I kind of took trades off the fly, but they were good trades. So there were trades that were off the fly, but they were trades that met my criteria.
Right.
So I think what we'll do here first is do you trade outside the live hours or do you only trade?
So I still do this automated bot, it's at automated strategy. It's at like the end of New York's
Mm-hmm.
session, and it's going pretty well. But other than that, I don't. Sometimes I would be like, all right, it's Sunday, I'm gonna do like NQ at 6 o'clock. I can't wait to trade. And I'm like, what am I doing?
And it never works out, right?
It
Almost.
doesn't, like it did last week, but so I'm like, I'll do it again, or.
Yeah, the consistency with doing stuff like that on Sundays, and I feel the urge to sometimes, right? Market opens up Sunday and you see the market moving. The difference is like during this time, there's a lot of outside factors that kind of factor what happens when the market opens up, like the tariffs, the war
Right,
in Ukraine. There's like so many things happening. Like before, I feel like before everything, all this was happening, it was a little easier because you were always expecting the market to go up, because it's like market will go down a little bit on Friday and then it'll pick back up on Sunday. But now
right,
it's like it's a toss up. Like like you said, one week or one day you might be doing well, and then the next Sunday it's random. So
right.
I would probably stay away from Sundays if possible.
Okay.
And I think so. I don't know. Are you trading different accounts with your automated bot, or are you trading all the same accounts?
I'm trading. I just keep to two accounts. I try to keep to two accounts
Okay.
and like evals. Uh,
Okay. Yeah. So
but
I'm trying to
yeah,
think like to
I
like
think,
segregate, the automated trades with
yeah,
your manual trades. I don't know if you can do that or if you want to just use the same accounts. Because I think with the automated bot, it's going to be harder for you to like to really track that.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
because it'll be different. Do you know how many trades does it typically take, or is there like
It takes usually two trades, one or two, or none.
okay, and the win ratio on that? How's the win ratio on that strategy?
It's about, so I just actually started it last week. It was doing really well last week. This week, it lost once and it won twice, and then took 2 days, didn't take a trade. So it's actually a really good one. This company that I've been dealing with, same with Pat actually. I started with them in February, and they brought me down big time, and it's just like getting it back.
Mhm.
So I've been just following them. As soon as like my counts went down so low, I just simmed it with them and then I manual with you.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so as long as they're not going to like blow the accounts up, I think that's like fine, if it's taking lower risk. I
Right.
think the main thing is you just don't want the bot to like kind of weigh you down too heavily where you can't
Right.
recover on the manual trades,
And
right?
that's what was happening. Like they change it so often that sometimes it's like you could be negative 500, and then I try and get that back and now I'm negative 800.
Oh
So,
no.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So uh, that really messed me up, emotionally. I finally got a little back, but I'm not like I just need to like stay on track.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly. So I
and
think
then also I think the whole like 1 day pass evals really messes me up because I'm like, okay, I just passed it in 1 day. I'm so good.
yeah, yeah. No, and I think that, the prop firms do that on purpose. Like when they have
Right.
promos going on, they know that they're gonna think the same way you're thinking. So
Yeah,
like when they had the April deal going on, right, till the end of the month, everyone was like, "Oh, I want to pass right away because it's so cheap." But like
yeah,
you do the math, and it's like it's actually cheaper to do it properly than to like blow an account and then buy another one and blow an account and
exactly.
reset
Or
it.
or buy 10 accounts and blow them all or whatever, like
Exactly, yeah. Instead of doing what your original plan was to like, pass two accounts. So
right.
I'm glad you see that. Hopefully you don't fall for that trap again in the future.
Yeah,
But it's a good it's a good opportunity if you are following it properly. But if you do abuse it, like in some instances where you buy too many accounts and you blow them all, that's gonna take a toll on your finances for the most.
right, right.
Yeah, so I think what we'll do is we'll probably set up a trading plan for your manual trading. You can keep
Okay,
doing
yeah,
automated trading, but we just kind of want to make sure that if your automated trading is doing good and you want to make sure that your manual is also good so you can kind of double up the profits, right?
yeah,
Versus having losses for the bots and then also have losses for your manual. You want to have your manual where it's always going to be pretty decently good, where it can always like kind of recover what you lost or double up profits if your bot is doing well. So for your manual trades, do you trade only during the live session, right?
yes.
Okay.
And
So
like I said, sometimes the Sundays where I would just be like, what did I just do? But other than that, yeah, I just do 9:30 to 11. Follow you.
okay, perfect. So we'll just put the times here for your trading edge because you just want to figure out, what your edge is.
Hmm.
So 6:38 my time, 9:30 your time.
Yep.
So we have that. Do you know what strategy do you only use the MPS V2 or do you use like other strategies as well?
No, I'm just sticking to the MPS V2 right now. Um, it's working. I love it.
Yeah, it's crazy because like before I was doing all the other strategies and I would kind of change it up from like season to season, but I started to
Yeah.
realize that like if I just stick to one and I'm doing this like mainly to make a point, that this could be possible with one account. I didn't even plan to make like how much I'm making now like for the year because I
Yeah.
never really tracked it on that side. I only tracked it, daily if not weekly, but now that I
Right.
have the whole calendar, I'm like, wow, this is actually working really well.
Cool.
Take, one or two entries per day that are solid. So all right, so for your trading edge, we'll set the time 6:30 at 8.
Okay.
Strategy is going to be MPSV2. Do you know what your risk is? Do you set a specific TP stop loss or do you like kind of change it up a bit?
I follow you, but I do typically I do 30 stop loss 20 with a trail.
Okay. So we'll basically we'll just set it at like I guess so you do 30/20. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm doing 20 30 with a trail.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, so we're just gonna put that down because we want to understand like, what your win ratio needs to be at to successfully like pull this off, right?
Right.
Um, so for me, I use a 40/40, but I kind of do like what you did. It's just I start off at a 40/40, kind of similar with your 20/30. Basically, like if you want to start at 30/30 and then you just adjust your TP a little lower depending on what the ATR is. Right now, it's a little difficult to kind of gauge it because the
Yeah.
market's kind of sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. It's not like before where we can just do 30/30 every single time, or even before, like 10/30, not almost that hit almost every single time.
Right.
Um, so with your risk at 20/30, you basically need to keep about, we'll say about like a 70 to 75% win rate. Uh, which is doable because the 20 points typically always hits. The only problem I would say with it is when you get slippage, right? I think slippage is
Yeah.
what kind of screws me sometimes because you'll get in and then you're in like 4 points or 6 points after, and you kind of gave up 10 points there. So I think this
Yeah.
does this does work to your advantage because if you were, it's basically like going for a 30-30, except you're kind of overcompensating for the slippage.
I
So
would say typically get around 25,
okay. Yeah.
which I'm happy with. I'm using one contract and then, sometimes I'll do two if I feel really good about it. Then if I lose, I go.
Yeah.
Then I'll up it. I'll definitely do 2 to 3, which is so
Yeah.
so annoying.
Yeah. Okay. So you said with your contract size, what were you using again?
Uh, one contract,
Okay. So you start with,
50K.
and then you up it typically if you lose a trade.
Yes, I up it if I lose a trade, or like this week I took two contracts with your trade when you were following you.
Okay, so what I would say is use I would say stick to just one contract, and if you feel comfortable, change it on a weekly basis because that's what I
Okay.
do. So like last week I was like using half risk because the market was kind of crazy, and then
Right.
I did full contract size this month or this week, and then I'm back to making my normal profit because what I wanted to do is I wanted to allow myself to have two losses in case, because what happened a lot of times the previous couple weeks was I'd have a loss and then I was done for the day. And then I look at the next trade and I win. I'm like, well, crap, I could have like broke even or,
Right.
but now that the market's kind of slowed down a bit, I'm going back to just allowing for like one loss per day. And that kind of depends on like for you too. So do you know what your allowable loss is? Do you just want to
Yeah.
do the day?
So have my risk set to, I recently changed it from 500 to 325.
Mhm.
Um, so the past 2 days, not today, but what was it, Wednesday and Thursday, I had the two contracts, so I was down. I couldn't take another trade.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm proud of myself because I could have gone in and changed my risk.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. The good thing is that you started to follow your rules to some extent, right? So
Right.
that's
Exactly. Some
that's
extent.
yeah, it's baby steps. It's
Right.
like I think once you have this, like once we have this kind of written down, you'll have like some sort of thing to just follow, like something to just look at. Like if you ever take a loss or if you ever have that urge to, up your contract size, you need to just go back and take a look at like what your trading plan is. And then if it doesn't fit within your plan, then don't do it.
Right.
So I guess we'll set your allowable loss to, do you want to do one or two trades?
Two.
Okay, two trades. That's good. Trying to think what else will you need here. So your trading edge, strategy, risk, contract size, allowable loss. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I like that.
I think yeah, I think this pretty much covers everything that you would really need because it for the most part, like if you were to follow this, I think to the T, I think you do great because I think one of your problem is right here. It's really the contract size. You just got to remember, don't ever change the contract size. If you do change it like on a weekly basis. So like say for example, like for me last week, I was kind of not comfortable or confident in the market, so I left it at like half contract size. And then this week, I basically doubled up on it because you know that you can handle two contracts, right? It's just
Right.
you want to keep it at one because you want to take two allowable losses. So
Right.
this is going to be interchangeable. Everything else should kind of stick to where it's at. You might need to update this a little more depending on how the ATR is looking like next week. If it stays around 30, which I think it will be, I think you're perfectly fine. I might even have to lower my TP stop loss because I'm currently at 40-40.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I think these two will be interchangeable. So if you like, I don't know if you want to put this on a post-it and like put it somewhere on your computer or something like that so you can remember, or even
Okay.
just put it as a text document and then just have it on your trading view like huge, like somewhere in the corner somewhere. Like,
Right. Like a reminder.
yeah, exactly. Like have it at like maybe not this big, but somewhere on your screen so that you remember. Because I feel like when you're trading emotionally, and I'll send this to you on the Discord too.
Oh,
Uh, if you trade emotionally, this is kind of what screws you over, right? It's because you're
yeah.
like you have a trading plan in place, but it's really like how consistent can you stick to it? Because I'm pretty sure if you were to document all of your trades and you stuck to this exact plan for the whole year or even a month, I think you would have done amazing, right? I think
Right.
you would great because the thing is if you set it to this, it's going to be almost impossible to blow your account, right? Because
Right.
you
Right.
kind of have the idea. And if you do follow this, you're not going to go into those downward spirals where you have like a good week or a good month, and that there shouldn't be like one day that's gonna like destroy your account. Like maybe
Right.
a horrible week or maybe even a horrible 2 weeks. Like I was talking to Kyle, who's in the group. He goes to my gym, so I talked to him today, and he said that the second week of April where I took my losses, he was kind of scared because he was like, if that happens again for the following week, he could have blown his accounts. But the thing
Yeah.
is, he stuck to his trading plan and he was able to like he lost during that second week with me, but then he recouped it the week after because we had a pretty nice win streak, I think, for April. Was it like
Yeah, April was good.
yeah, because we got kind of burnt down right here week two, and then we had a win streak since then. So we had the following week 2 wins, and the fourth week following week after that 2 wins. Had my loss on Wednesday, and then 2 wins for
This week.
yesterday. So
Yeah.
like just following the calendar here, like and I always mention this during the live session. It's really like for me, it's not even about the profit. I don't care about the number profit. I care about the color of the day, right? So I
Right.
want to close out the majority of the days green because I am doing a one-to-one. For you, you're doing slightly a little like maybe 80 to 100 with regard to your TP stop loss. So like realistically, you just need like maybe one more winning day. So for me, it's really to have a balanced week. But for you, it's probably like if you were to have a lose like this week would have been perfect, right? You would have if you would have had a loss on Wednesday, you would have had a win yesterday and then a win today.
Yeah.
That would have carried you over, even though your first loss would have like set you back an extra 10 points. So
Right.
I think having this trading plan here and then also using the trader sync is going to make a huge difference. And when you look at your trader sync and you upload everything, if you need help with this, just let me know and I can give you some help with that. But it's
Okay.
pretty straightforward when you import your trades. But I think your main goal would be to focus on the calendar tab for performance and just focus on having green days. Because what you need is you just need to have like a 2-to-1 ratio basically for your winning days. So if you were to
Right.
like for example, like in March here. So if you had one losing day, you basically just need 2.5 or 3 days to be profitable for that week. And yeah, if you just focus on even if you close out the trades early, right? In some
Yeah.
instances, you might want to close out early if
A
you
lot
don't
of
feel.
times I do.
Which is which is
Yeah.
which is perfectly fine. Um, you just don't want to do it too often, right? Like maybe allow that to happen maybe like once or twice a week, but not like over that. Because the thing is, you got to learn to trust the strategy as well. And even myself, I have to learn to trust it as well. It's like today, I kind of minimized my CP a little bit, and it went straight to that 40. And I was like, man, that would have been nice if it would have hit the
Right.
B. But yeah, it's just the market. Like, when you don't feel confident in the market, it probably would be safer to pull out earlier. But try to hold on to it for the full move, especially if you're going for 20 points. I think that's very attainable compared to, a 40-point move.
Right.
I think you just got to trust it and just let the trade run to the
Well, you're not like a big fan of a trail, right? Do you
yeah.
think I should
So
take it off?
I think you should, yeah. So
Yeah.
I was a fan of it before, but I kept running into errors because I have so many accounts.
Right,
So
right,
when
right.
the market's too volatile, it'll like go up, come down, trigger my stop loss and profit on my main account, but then on the other accounts they would still be running because it would
Right.
happen quickly. So I was a fan of it initially until I realized that it kept pulling me out a little too early. Like instead of going for the full top, because this is what you'll see a lot of times. You'll see like um, price will like push up. Like say for example, this is like your target, right? Price will push up, it'll get close to your target, and then your trailing stop will follow it very closely. And what happens is, or depending on where your trailing stop is, what happened to me a lot was it would come down, pull me out, and then go right back up to my TP. And I'm like, dang, I just missed out on like 10 or 20 points right there.
Right.
And I'm
Yep.
pretty sure that happens to you a
Yeah.
lot.
And that
Yeah.
it does happen. But it's also like a safety net for me in a way.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say if you're to use a trailing stop, I would have it set to so what are your settings at right now? Do you have an idea?
Um, they are, hold on, let me. So even like, so this week, like I had my stop loss, so I'm changing it with the ATR,
Hmm.
right? So I did have my stop loss at 40 this week,
Okay.
25, but I lost twice with the 40. So that really messed me up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Because you're using one contract size, so like
right.
the you can't really make the adjustments with the stop loss because if your stop loss is too wide, like 40 points, then it's gonna just gonna be more of a loss. Like for me, I can like lower my contract size and then it'll kind of balance out where my losses are gonna be the same. But for you, yeah, it's a little tougher. You might have to move down to the micro. I don't know if you've ever traded the micro before, but the
Yeah.
micro will allow you to. So basically, like one contract size would be equivalent to 10 micros. So if you
Right.
want to lower your risk a little bit, you can probably take like 8 micros or 7 micros instead of a full contract size on the mini to give you that kind of cushion or leverage. But
Got it.
I wouldn't make that big jump yet because if the market stays at like 30 ATR, because that's what it's been looking like this whole week. If it stays at 30, then you probably won't need to make that adjustment because your
Okay.
stop loss would be at 30 anyways.
Right. Okay.
Hmm.
So my trail is one step, stop loss 5, triggers 20, and then every 2. So it's
Oh,
just like goes if it's going up. But
oh, gotcha. So you don't
uh
have an actual target then, so you're just using a trailing stop.
yeah, I don't have a target.
Okay, so I think that might be an issue because
Okay.
um, so what I was gonna advise was keep your target, but have your trailing stop set to like the trigger at like we'll say like 15, and then you can possibly have that stop loss get moved in profit, like slightly in profit, where it's not too close, but close enough to where you won't have a loss, right? So if
Got
it
it.
so like basically like for example, if it like we'll just say for example, your trade is like you're running for a buy right here, and your TP is 2030. We would set your trailing stop or your trigger to happen around like 15 so that we'd have your trigger at 15 and then we'd have your trailing stop at like we'll say 5. And the reason why I would advise or I would probably use this is because um, in a situation like this, when price reaches the 15 points, at this point now your risk is pretty much eliminated, right? You're either going to make some profit if price comes down, and it's going to stop you from preventing you from getting stopped out, or if it doesn't come back that far, you basically get your full 20 points.
Okay.
So like I said, the main goal is really to close out the green days. You don't really want to keep a runner because the thing is with the runners is that it's not always going to run, and I'm sure you've kind of witnessed that.
Yeah.
Like we've been in a rangy market, so like I know what you're doing is you're trying to cash those runners. You want to get more than 20, but
Right.
what ends up happening is it just ends up pulling back. Like instead of locking in the 20 points here, you end up having your stop loss trailing, and you end up making even smaller profit when you could
Right.
have at least locked in the 20 points.
Okay. So
So
you think I should do a 20, 30 hard with no trail?
no trail, yeah. Or else what you can do as well is if you just want to go for a 1-to-1 instead, like instead of using a 20-30, you can do like a 30-30, and then
Okay.
have like that'll be your hard TP, and then you can have your trailing stop at like you can have it triggered like a one step, like you already have it currently, and then you can have it set to like 15, and then
Okay.
it moves it up to 5, and then you can have it set to 20, and then that moves it up to 5. So then at that point you guarantee 10 points. So like whatever happens, you guarantee 10 points, but then you can shoot for that full 30. It's just up to preference, right?
Got it.
It's like I'm not sure how you feel about that because some people just want to get in and out. Some people want to go for the bigger targets. I think for you to get that confidence like really instilled in a trading plan set in place, you need to have a certain target to hit. Because I think once you have like win streaks, like kind of like what I've had here, right? Like if you look at my calendar, like once you have win streaks like this, you're not going to be scared anymore. You're going to be willing to take those hard targets because those hard targets are going to add up over time. And then at that point, you can probably increase your contract size from 1 to 2. So like instead of making, I think you said 350, right?
Yeah.
So like 1 times 5 times 20. Or wait, is that right? If you're using one contract, your
One
target's
contract is 100.
Yeah. So your target would be 100. In order for you to get that 350, oh, because you're doing your stop losses would be 150. Oh, because you want two
Okay.
trades. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, I want two trades.
You want two trades. So like if you were to have a hard target, like say for example, you had some like you had like a good week or something like that. Like for example, say like this was your week right here for March and you're using one contract. And then you get into week two or the following week, and then at this point you feel confident because you had a pretty nice win streak. Then you can up your contract size, so you'll be making more profit, but you'll be taking less trades because
Okay.
you're really just aiming. So your goal isn't to make a bunch of winning trades per day. Your goal is to just have a winning day, but you
Right.
want to minimize your losses. So you don't want to be lower than the two losses that you've allowed for. So I think what you should do initially to find that consistency is really have that that target in place. And then possibly in the future, then you can start to set runners, or you can
Okay.
kind of play around with the trailing stop so that you can have like you can have it set to where you can close half of your position. Like at some point when you're taking more contract sizes, you can kind of like let it run to the target, close out half of your position, and then let the rest run, right? I think that's probably the better route of doing it. Because the thing is, when you have all of your like if your total P&L is like based off like one contract, and your runner doesn't run, you're not really gonna make very much profit or enough to like make a dent in your account if you're gonna keep hitting like smaller profits down here.
Right.
Because I think that's kind of what's been happening with you. That's why it's like harder for you to dig out of that hole
Yeah.
because you're like racking up these smaller profits when if you just took like all of them for 20 points, that would have like your account would have just kept growing and growing and growing from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that is true. I mean, I talk to Pat all the time and I'm like, my loss, like the loss is so much more. And I know that it is for everybody, but it's just sometimes so hard to like come back from
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. Because you just gotta like think about the bigger scheme of things. So like for example, if you traded this week and you had two wins, and then you had one loss, like for example. So if you had two wins, which was at 20 points, which would be $100, right? That's so you have two wins, that's $200, and you have the one loss, which is one times five times 30. You'd still be in profit for the week, right? 'Cause you'd be up like $50. But eventually you'd want to increase that contract size. So you'd be up like $50, but if you were to do two contracts, right, at 200, and then you would do two contracts, you'd be up like $100 basically.
Right.
So I think you might need to just go for a bigger target. I think you have to
Okay.
stick to the 1-to-1 for now. I think the 20-30, it's good for like if you need that confidence to like to
See the green.
yeah, to see the green, but I think in the long term, you want to get closer to the 1-to-1. So you won't have to take as many trades.
Got ya.
For
Okay.
you. Yeah, because for you, like for me, it's like I already, I just need to have more winning days than less losing days. But for you, if you're taking a negative risk reward, which is not, there's no problem with it. I think just in this type of market that we are now, we're getting like those 1-to-1 type moves where you can actually go for the 1-to-1. Like before when we did the 10-30, that was like usually when the market's kind of slow, right? Because like what would happen sometimes is we push in profit and then it just completely reverses.
Right.
Right? With this type of market that we're currently in, we're having enough volatility where you can go for that full ETR move.
Okay.
So
Makes sense.
yeah, so I don't know if you're comfortable with that, but maybe change your TP stop loss to 30-30.
No, that's great. I want to hear this.
Yeah, because this thing is good. Like, don't get me wrong, this is good because I did this for years, right? I did the 10-30 and I had no problem with it. But with the type of market that we're in now, you're you're not getting the full potential of your trade.
Right.
What I'm trying to get across. Because the thing is, yeah, like for example, if we look at my calendar here and then we did a 10-30 TP stop loss, I mean, I'd still be in profit because like three trades would equal to one loss, so that would kind of cancel that out. Three of these ones right here would cancel that out, and then these four right here would have, or five right here would have put me in profit for the month.
Got
And
ya.
like April, so for April, I think April would have been a more red month for me if I was to do a 10-30 because yeah, it just wouldn't make sense here because there's three losses or three wins will come
Right.
loss. Yeah, I
That
would just
makes
have
so
loss.
much sense, Sean. Like this week I was doing a lot of I was doing 40 like 40 2040.
Oh yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. And then you have to win two more trades, or in that sense, four trades to break even. You know.
Right.
And the thing is, we're not getting that many entries. Back then, we would have like when we were initially doing the 1030 setup, we would have like 4 or 5 entries per day. So like it was easier to recoup that. But now that we're doing the MPSV2, there's only so many entries that come up. So it's like it's better to just go for that 1-to-1 and then use a proper contract size to really balance it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing with the contracts too, like Perdia and Tradeify,
Mhm.
they want 200 a day, so I would go, I would try and get 200 at least, and then I'd, get to 198 and then I don't have my 200.
Yeah, yeah, you'd be really close to it. So,
Yeah.
so that's another reason why I think the trailing stop would kind of be it would be worse because you would get in a situation like that where you don't know your exact profit, right? If you have a fixed target, then you know the exact target that you need to
Okay.
that you would make. So a losing day would yield you a certain amount of profit, or a winning day would yield you a certain amount of profit. Um, so with those accounts, do you know what your max drawdown is?
Um, 2000?
Okay, so 2000. And,
Oh
and
no, Perdia is 1500.
50. Oh, because you're on a smaller account, right? So
Yeah, I'm on
1500.
50. Yeah, 50.
And that's the straight to funded, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so straight to funded, we'll probably divide that by 4. Okay, so this is how much you should probably be risking um per day. And then if
Okay.
so 375, and then if you want to take 2 trades, you divide that by 2. So basically you'd be risking about 187 per trade max.
Okay.
So if we were to do that, and we'll use the 30 for example, 1 times 5 times, or 2 times 5 times 30. Yeah, you just use one contract basically. Yeah, you'd
Per
use one,
trade.
yeah, per trade,
Right.
because
Okay.
the you want to be risking about this amount, but it's going to be hard for you to get that exact number unless you're trading the micro.
Right.
So you basically just do one contract, and then this is what's going to be your risk per day. So if you do this risk per day, you should have no problem reaching that threshold, because for a winning day, you're going to have pretty close to that amount. You're going to have, if you have 2 trades, you're going to have like 150 per trade.
Right.
Um, so that's kind of like where it's going to be a little different too. So this is if you plan on taking 2 trades a day, but if there's going to be like, if we're in a type of market, like for example, we're going into summer, if the market starts to slow down and you don't get 2 opportunities, right? You just have one opportunity. In that situation, you would just use 2 contracts instead of one. So
Okay.
instead of your 2 allowable loss, you set that back to 1,
Okay.
and then your contract size. So you're basically just going for that one shot per day, right? Like it's like if you strike out once, you're pretty much done for the day. Kind of like what I'm doing. And you
Kind of,
just
yeah.
and you just got to play by ear, because the thing is, like, we don't really know how the market's going to be this summer. So I don't know if it's going to slow down, if it's going to stay
Right.
busy. Um, but yeah, I think that's like those are the main things that you might have to change. It's really just gonna, like I said, this is gonna be the only interchangeable thing here. And then we'll
Okay.
probably up your contracts, up your risk to 30/30.
Okay.
Because if you're doing a 30/30, you really just need above a 50% now. You don't need a 70 to 75%. You only need above a 50%.
Okay.
Because that
To
makes
get
it,
rid of the trail.
yeah, that makes a huge difference, right? Because now
Yeah.
you basically just need more green days than red days, exactly what I'm doing. And then for your changeability here, it's just going to be your contract size. If you feel comfortable or you feel confident, take 2 contracts, and then you'll be allowed 1 loss per day. Or vice versa, if you want to take more trades because you feel like the market's a little riskier, you just switch back to 1, and you get 2 losses per day.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this here makes a lot more sense for what you're aiming for, and
Yeah.
this will give you consistency where you'll actually see the difference.
And also sometimes I know that I'll take a loss and put that account on the bot
Mhm.
to
Oh, so
try and get it.
yeah,
Yeah.
to get it back, but then
Yeah, to get it back, so I'm not doing it. Someone else, something else is. So I'm gonna, stop doing that, obviously. Just
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of,
Yeah, probably just like lay off the bot for a little bit. Maybe just like, put that on your sim to see how it's doing and just follow it, make sure it's doing well. If
Yeah,
it's doing, because the problem with the bot is that you don't have any control over it, right?
right.
Like you don't know how that person's going to do. That person may bring you back or they might double up your loss. So
Which, yeah, has been happening.
yeah, and I think that's because the thing is, you want to be in control, right? You want to be in complete control, and you want to know exactly where your risk is at. I think if you follow this trading plan right here, it's going to give you that opportunity to really see yourself, see where your issues are appearing. Because the thing is, once you have this like plan in place and you set up your trader sync, you're going to see on your calendar, like you're going to see how many trades you take, how many losses you take, how many wins you take. And if you stick to the game plan, ideally you just need a 50% win rate. And all the strategies that we applied have like at least a 60 to 70% win rate. So as long as you stick to the game plan,
Okay,
take that 1-to-1 risk reward and you don't overtrade, you don't revenge trade,
right.
you don't put the accounts on the bot. I think you should be able to see, your profitability go in an upwards direction over time
Okay,
because it shouldn't go down. Like we've already done the data and we've done our testing and we understand that in the long term you should be profitable.
right. Like I
Yeah.
know what I'm doing, I understand it all. I'm doing it right, and then it's that day, that just
Yeah,
ruins everything.
yeah, exactly. And I think if you stick to this game plan, that day should never happen, right? Like you'll have
Yeah,
a losing day, but you'll never be that point where it'll blow your account or it'll take you so far behind where it's going to be impossible to climb out of that hole.
yeah,
If
right,
you have a bad week or even a bad week shouldn't be enough to take you that far down. It's really got to take you like maybe a bad couple weeks that are like back to back to back losses or, a horrible month. Because the thing is, like, we've done the math here. So, in order for you to blow your account, you have to have four back-to-back losses.
right.
For you to have four back-to-back losses and you're taking a two trade allowable loss, that's eight back-to-back losses, right? That like never happens. Like the only reason that would happen is if you really revenge traded or over trading. Because you gotta put the number, you gotta like make sense of that number. Eight back-to-back losses is a lot of losses if you think
Yeah.
about it.
But
So
sometimes I just throw it all out. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I'm going. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it all back. I'm better. And then, I'm
yeah,
not.
yeah. And then the market humbles you, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then you're just pissed off that day. So,
Yeah.
um, I'm excited. This is good. This is awesome.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. And I'm excited for you too because like I hope that like what's coming across for me because like ever since I started journaling my trades, I'm like it's been crazy because like now I see the whole number. Like I never really looked at the whole number and I'm like I'm up like this much for the whole year. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like it
That's
blows my
awesome.
mind because I don't really I'm not used to seeing big numbers like that. Like maybe I was doing somewhere around there before, but actually seeing it and having it documented and actually seeing like the chart here kind of go up and down. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
like this is where the losses happen, but I controlled my losses here and I was able to like go right back up.
Right.
And that's kind of what happened here too in April. Like we had a really nice win streak from like March until April, and I took that loss there. And then, this would a lot of times this would break someone. Like for you, for example, like if you had that losing streak, that would have been the point where you've been like, all right, screw it,
Right.
whatever happens, happens.
Exactly.
But luckily for me, I was able to like look at the chart and I'm like, okay, I'm allowed another two or three losses. So as long as I stick to the game plan, if I blow the accounts, fine. It's okay. The market just wasn't working in my favor. But if I stick to the game plan, I should be able to get out of that hole.
Right.
And luckily, after the April market there, like luckily I stuck to the game plan and I had those losses there, but then I climbed right out the following 2 weeks. It took 2 weeks, but 2 weeks after brought it right back. And then I'm back in profit for the
And
year.
you're not taking a trade every day.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that's like one of the biggest problems with a lot of people is that they feel the need to trade every day, right?
Right.
And 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 that's why I think like the having this interchangeable right here is going to make a big difference for you because if you have two trades per day, you're like, okay, maybe in this situation you can take more than one trade or you can take a trade every single day. But if you have this set to like one trade, one loss allowable per day, you're going to be a little more selective about what you decide to take because
Right.
that one trade it's gonna knock you off for the day. So you got to be really selective with which one you decide to take because you don't want to be out for the day. I
Right.
think it's the worst feeling. It's like you're out for the day and then you see all these trades come up right after and they all hit.
And that's what happened yesterday or 2 days ago. We
Mhm.
took that loss and I was out because I took it for two contracts. And then I was like, and then you got them back. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, yeah,
I
no,
just
exactly.
stared at the red.
Yeah, but it was good because you stared at the red and you didn't keep going, right? I think
No, I
that
didn't.
was like the first step of you following your trading plan.
Yes,
Yeah, and
for sure.
if you can keep doing that, if you can just stick to the game plan, I think you'll be good. It's really sticking to the game plan and not going off track and
Yeah.
understanding that there's going to be, you want to live to trade till tomorrow. Like you want to live to continue trading
Yep.
versus like, kind of thinking, all right, whatever. I have already lost this trade. I only have like $300 left, so what the heck? I might as well go and blow it. Because when you trade that way, that's where you start to make the mistakes. Because if
Right.
you could take that loss and then say you have like 300 drawdown left. If you just like stop trading for that day and then you come back the next day fresh and you don't think about, oh, I only have $300 left, you'll feel more confident to take the trade and you're going to you're going to make a more educated guess with the market versus kind of just trading off your emotions and like, because I know that happens sometimes. Like I see some people, they'll be looking at the chart and there's like literally nothing there. And they're like, oh, I think price will go up. And then they take it. But I go, if this works, then, I'll come right back. And then it never works. It ends up just going straight down.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember in the beginning being like, isn't anybody taking this? Like, it's just going off, like
Yeah.
follow it up. Why wouldn't you? But obviously there's so much more to it. I forget that like I could get paid out. And that's the goal, I want this and I just fall backwards. So I think this is gonna be awesome. I think it's gonna be great. And journaling, I gotta get that going.
Yeah, what I would do is, every day after the live session, just go to your TraderSync, hit the import button, have it log into your account, and then your whole calendar will be populated and you can see what you did for the day. Um, and this is going to keep you in check too, because you can see over here it has like the numbers of trades that I take, and then sometimes I take two, sometimes like this week I was taking half a risk, so I was taking two trades.
Right.
And then down here, I started just taking one trade. So you'll see the numbers of trades here. Yeah, so this was kind of crazy. Yesterday, I took three trades. So it says 138 trades, but it was really three trades across all my accounts.
Right.
And that's a big difference compared to what I normally take, right? Like 45 trades, because I have like 45 accounts. So yeah, this is going to make a difference. I think this will make a difference, and then this will kind of keep you on track because if you see days where you have more trades than others, you're gonna go back and look at that. And the cool thing is like when you click on the day, like for example, if you want to look at today's trades, you could click on that day, and then you can go to your actual journal here, and it'll show you the actual trade that you took.
That's cool. Yeah.
So it's pretty cool because um, and it's going to be easier for you because you'll have two accounts on there, so you won't have like a ton of accounts listed, but you'll kind of see like, okay, I made this much profit on these accounts, and then
Yeah,
you'll
that's nice.
you'll know if you pulled out too early, and that's going to be probably your next step. I think right now it's going to be sticking to your trading plan, and then I think, and this is just comes from experience for myself too. I think the next thing is going to be pulling out of your trades early because once you have consistency, I see a lot of people go from like having no consistency to having consistency, but then they start to mess around with their risk. So they have their TP stop loss set to 30, but then they end up pulling early a lot because they just get scared.
Even
So
after you've like mastered the consistency.
yeah, I think because like what happens is sometimes is like they'll see some trades where like it gets close to their TP and then it reverses on them. And then the next time they're like, okay, if it gets to that point again, I'm just gonna pull out early. And
Right.
it kind of messes with their consistency. So it's really just sticking to the game plan, right? And just reminding yourself. Um, yeah, because there's always going to be your trade psychology is always going to get tested one way or another.
Yeah.
It's like if you have the consistency with your trading plan, then you're going to start to think, oh, what if like whenever you have losses, you're going to look for reasons of like how you could have avoided that loss or how you could have at least made some profit off that. But realistically, the strategy is the strategy. So if you follow the strategy to the T, like I always tell people that like every day, it's like it doesn't matter what strategy you follow. You just have to stick to the game plan. If you know the numbers and you know the parameters and you know where it's like what it's supposed to yield, then you should have no problem. And
Yeah.
for us, for the
Exactly.
MPS, yeah, exactly. For the MPS V2 for this year, it has, so let me see, it's
I love that. I love this one.
yeah, and this one it's crazy. It's so crazy because
So
like
awesome.
you think about it and you're like,
And it just makes sense too, like everything about it.
Yeah. So this is including the breakouts at the beginning of the year. It was at 78%. But if we just, I started taking the NPSV2 on March or January 20th up until today. And this is like the one strategy that I'm only taking. And it's updates. And then we're at 80%. So that's,
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy because we only, like I've told you earlier, like you only need 50% to be profitable. And
Right.
above that is all net profit. So
Right.
like, even at this point, if I was to have losses that would just happen, from now until like, God forbid it doesn't happen, but if I do have losses, as long as I stay above that 50% win rate, I should be profitable in the long run. So it's really just having, if you have those numbers in place and you understand like, okay, it's okay to have a loss because I'm still going to be above that 50% ratio. Um, and yeah, I'm glad that I have this on the calendar because this calendar is going to show you and everybody else that like if you just stick to the game plan and you just stick to what you've been doing for a whole year's time, you should be able to, yield a profit as long as you stay above the 50% ratio.
Got it.
Yeah.
The 80%, that just kills me because that could have been me, if I just,
I know. Yeah, if you only took the live trades like
yeah,
January up until now and you just stuck to the game plan and did
yeah,
trade no bot or take
pisses me off. Like, you'll be like, you could, beat pass the challenge of a 300K in a month. And I'm like, God, like, how the hell does anybody do that? But you just got to stick to it. Like, that's
yeah,
all you
yeah.
have to do.
Exactly. You just got to stick to the game plan. Like, the 300K takes forever to pass. I think you were with me like the whole time. It took me like almost
Yes.
3 months. But
Took a
the thing
while.
is, like, I stuck to the game plan, and
Right.
eventually I got to passing it. I know it took a long time, but as long and if I was on a smaller account, like a 50K account, like right now I'm doing my wife's account, and she's almost done. I think she's at like 52,000 something, and it's like 53,000 to pass it. So like I've only been on the account for about I think a week, and hopefully by next week it'll be passed. And there's 20 50K funded accounts within like a week or 2 weeks time just doing NPSV2 by
Right.
itself.
Right. And not every day.
And not every day. Yeah, it took like maybe 3 trades on that account. So
So
it's
cool.
crazy. Yeah.
What are you using? Two contracts for that? Four.
I'm taking a bit more actually because it's in the eval, so like I'm risking a little bit more than usual. So like I think divided by three. So yeah, so about 800. So I'm taking
Okay.
800 risk. I think it's, let's see, 5 contracts. Let's see, 5 times.
Five times.
No, less than. Yeah, you're right. Four. Yeah, four. So I'm taking 4 contracts on that. So
Nice.
it's not bad. You think about it, 800. So the goal again was the goal was it's a 3,000 profit goal divided by 800. So it's really just 4 trades. So I really just need 2 more trades to pass it. So hopefully by
Nice.
next week we'll have like 2 full TPs and then those accounts are passed and then they go into the PA phase. And then once they're in the PA phase, I'll just lower the contract size because at that point you're already funded. So
Right.
maybe by like 1 contract.
Sweet. Very
Yeah.
cool. So then I'm also thinking maybe I should like put my trades, show my trades too daily. I think that'll help me.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. If you want to, I think I know it's scary to post it in the team chat, but I think if you post your trades in the team chat and you have collaboration with like other people, like you'll see which people are usually talking. It's usually like Christian because he's like on his goal to like he's in the same boat as you. He's like he has the consistency down, but for some reason I don't know what's up with his Ninja Trader, but it doubles his trades up. Like it's weird. He'll hit buy and then he'll enter trade and then he'll double it. He'll just enter again the second time. So he's just like taking half a contract size now.
Got
Um,
it.
I don't know if there's something wrong with his computer or something like that, but yeah, he was just we just had this talk. I had this talk with him like a couple weeks ago, and his consistency is there, but now he's got to figure out how to like take the trades without or with it doubling on his account.
But that's
So
the ninja problem.
yeah, I know. And he's been talking to Ninja and they say that it's his computer. I think it's his computer. I just don't know like because I've never heard that problem before. It's like weird. He enters a position and then it changes his ATM feature. And
What?
then when it changes it enters a second time.
That's weird.
Yeah, yeah, it's very unusual. But yeah, if you want to share your trades, you can either send it to me or you can post it in the team chat, so people
Okay.
can see it as well. Um, because everyone's here to help. I think that's like
Right.
something that's like good about our community. It's not like people are not going to call you out or like,
Laugh at you.
make fun of you, yeah, for like taking a bad trade. I think
Point fingers.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think, if you take accountability for your wins and your losses, it's gonna benefit you in so many different ways.
Okay.
Like I think that's like one thing that I noticed too for myself. It's really just it's accountability. Because a lot of people just want to point fingers at like it was the strategy or it was the market or it was the broker or
Yeah.
something, but
Right.
then they learn from it and they just keep, another mistake happens and they just want to blame it on someone else. But if you take
Right.
accountability for it, you'll know that okay, I screwed up. Don't screw up next time, right? I think
Right.
that's the biggest thing that you can do.
Right. If someone's like, oh, God, she's in the red again. Like, that's not going to feel good. So I want to keep to my trading plan.
Exactly. Like, and then and if you stick to like what we do on the live and you stick to your trading plan, even if you're in the red like 2 or 3 days, kind of like what happened with me in April, like you're gonna make it back eventually because the strategy is set to have a set amount of wins and a set amount of losses per year, per day, per month, per week. So like, you can only go down a losing streak for so long until it turns back around.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Got it.
Yeah. So yeah,
Exciting.
uh, I think I said this to you already. So if anything, like you already have the template there, so you can always just change it. Like for example, right here, we'll just change the risk to like 30-30, and then your win rate
And
will give to 50,
um, and then I'm taking off the trail.
and then taking off the trail. Yeah, let's trade without the trail for a bit.
Okay.
And then just let the trade hit your TP or stop loss.
Okay.
I think that will help you with your trade psychology because you're not gonna be so worried about the position. Like you can
Got
kind
it.
of just take it and then just let the trade do what it needs to do.
Okay.
Because you're gonna be following, the data that we have with the win ratio. So you already know it's gonna have losing days sometimes, but most days and not are gonna be winning days.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Sweet.
Yeah. So I'm excited for you. Hopefully,
Me
like this
too.
helps a lot and you're gonna stick to it.
I will. I
Um,
will.
And then I know you talk about like, having the meetings on a weekly basis. Let's see how this goes for the first week and then we'll talk about that.
Okay.
But
Sounds good.
we don't want to meet too much to the point where it's where you're changing up your trading plan, right? You want to kind of stick to this trading plan for like at least a month or so. Um,
Yeah. I agree. I just kind of would like again, like double accountability for you to be like, what the heck? Like, why would you do that or whatever? I don't know. I don't know if you would
yeah,
do that, but oh,
yeah, no, definitely. So we could start off with you sending your trades either in me or the chat, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then, that will be your accountability because it's going to show whether you won or you lost that day. And your main goal is really to just have more winning days and losing days because you have a 50% win-loss ratio. So you just have to have more than 50% to be in profit for the end of the week or the end of the month.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, the siren. Do you hear the siren?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
Good.
the fire department's going. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. All right, Nikki. So yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to hit me up. Otherwise, we'll get started with this plan first and then we'll kind of go from there. Hopefully we don't have to change too much because you're basically on the same plan that I'm following. Just your allowable risk is a little higher, but we can make those changes along the way.
Okay. That
Yeah.
works. Appreciate
All
it.
right. Definitely have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday.
Sounds good.